What's up? What's up? This is a good question. This is a Dallas Cowboy, the greatest tight end in Cowboy history. Who I got out of Jay Novacek and Jason Witten. Now, this is an interesting question because Witten was more dominant. He was there forever and a day. They just didn't win when they had Witten. He was bad. If you had probably if there was a top 100 Dallas Cowboy, a top 75, he's got to be on the list. But Novacek was there for the victories. He was huge. He was an integral part. And it's kind of like who was more important? Because do you go with the guy who's got all the stats at tight end and Witten? Or do you go with the dude who was integral when they won the chips and when he was lethal for them? That's a tough question. Novacek was tough, durable. He came up for Aikman. I mean, he was tough. And I mean, and as great as Witten is, I don't know if Witten could have done aside from creating more because he was a more possession based tight end. When tight ends started to get more allure, you know, uh, it's an interesting question because they both have their place, they both have their durability, they both have their, there's a totality um, with them. But then it comes down to, which one do you think is better of the two? That's an interesting question because which one fits better? Which one left a lasting mark? Which one, it's a very compelling question. Um, it's I remember Novacek like yesterday, and he fit. He fit. Not only was he good, but he fit. And so, and he was a big time Pro Bowl. So now, obviously, Witten got more. So but Novacek wasn't no scrub. It wasn't no slouch. His numbers was there. I mean, he had, tight end wasn't as prominent when he played because he was right before the Shannon Sharp, Tony Gonzalez takeover. But he wasn't like Kellen Winslow Sr. A lot of people look at tight ends now and think everybody is like, what you see with Kelsey and them and that. But that wasn't the case. Or Gronk. Wasn't the case. Or George Kittle, how he does in Frisco. That wasn't tight ends weren't as prominent when Novacek was bumping. They were important, but they weren't as impactful. Because you got a whole era of people who grew up with tight, and now you got tight ends who win rings and dominate. So when Novacek was winning rings, he wasn't dominant. Matter of fact, if you look at Michael Irvin's numbers and stuff, they're not dominant, but it was prominent. Like Emmitt Smith had more prominent numbers, but it wasn't like dominant where you were going blown away. So different era of offense, different era of how it goes down. But this is a good debate. Who, Witten is going to come across number one, but then who was the better fit? So who do I think was the better fit? And Novacek was huge. I mean, it's a good debate to have. Now for Cowboy fans, and if you in on it, feel free to tell me who you got out the two. There really ain't no bad answer involved because they both were prominent. They both had impact. They both left a lasting mark. And, I mean, again, you can't go wrong with either one. You can, you'll have a share of who you like, but you really can't go wrong with either one of them because they both um, have a place. They both have their place. But anyway, let me know what you think in the comment section. Please like, subscribe, welcome thoughts, comments. And I do respond. Thank you. Wash your hands. Keep your mind clear. Watch it for another. Share it if you like. And stay safe, stay blessed, stay woke. And part of the question is this. If we were to flip them both, whose career would turn out better? Because if Witten had to play with Aikman and Emmett and Irvin, Alvin Harper, and what Jimmy Johnson was putting on offense, and you put Jay Novacek with Tony Romo or Dak Prescott era, Dez Bryant to what they got now, who come out better as a tight end? Because that would be interesting if you were to flip them. All right, I'm out. Peace.